Cosmic Fam? It's your girl Cosmic Jazz 222, and today I am back with another collective message and astral breakdown of the transits in July of 2025. However, some of the transits that I'll be touching on will definitely impact you for the rest of the year and possibly into next year. So if you're wondering what's to come and what some themes might be coming up for you, or I guess collectively in July and for the rest of the year, definitely stay tuned. Now, if you are returning, welcome back, Cosmic Fam. It's so good for y'all to be here. And for those of you guys who are just coming across this video or my channel for the first time, welcome. So this is just a disclaimer. Everything I touch on in this video is simply my interpretation, intuitive interpretation and breakdown of the transits, as well as the cards I will be pulling on camera. So that means not every single thing is going to resonate, and that's okay. Use my readings and breakdown as guidance, advice, and confirmation, and take what resonates, leave what doesn't. Okay, child, so let's get into July, because July, I don't know, July always has been that dramatic month. Not just for me, but I just noticed it throughout the years with many people. But this year specifically, July is definitely taking us for a ride. So I do have the chart up. This chart is for July 7th, 2025. And you're probably wondering, Jazz, why did you use that specific date? Well, funny enough, we've been having a lot of outer planets transitioning from sign to sign. First, we have Pluto teasing us for the past couple years. Now he's officially in Aquarius. We've had Saturn and Neptune entering Aries earlier this year. Recently, Jupiter entered Cancer in June. And now, July 7th, we're going to have Uranus entering Gemini. And this is going to bring a lot of changes, but we're going to talk about that. First, I want to give you guys a summary of what you can expect in July specifically. I really hope you guys can see the chart. So let's just begin. I'm not even factoring oppositions, squares, trines. I'm not even factoring that. So you can only imagine what type of transits we'll be dealing with. But first, July 4th. There's been a lot of talks about July 4th from fellow astrologers. So we do have Venus conjunct Uranus at 29 degrees, which is an anaretic degree. It's the last degree of any sign. So that type of degree is very powerful, and we tend to see a lot of changes and even shocking events happening, given the fact we're dealing with Uranus. Same day, Venus enters Gemini and Neptune goes retrograde. Oh, I should mention, yes, there's a lot of retrogrades happening in July as well. So that's another thing we will be encountering. Shifting to July 7th, we have Uranus, of course, entering Gemini. July 10th, we have the full moon in Capricorn. July 13th, we have Saturn going retrograde. July 18th, we have Mercury going retrograde. July 22nd, we enter Leo season as Sun enters its home sign, period. And then we have July 24th, the new moon in Leo, which is quite interesting, right? Then July 30th, we have Chiron going retrograde, which is honestly a fun sign. And then July 31st, July 31st, we have Venus entering Cancer, and then the Sun conjunct Mercury while it's in retrograde. But this is also known as the Mercury Cazimi. Okay, so I want to first talk about Uranus entering Gemini. Now, just to give you guys a brief snapshot or summary of what we were experiencing past couple years. Yes, Uranus was in the sign of Taurus. Now, during this time, and this is just a brief summary, Taurus rules over the earth. It rules over our resources, possessions, values, morals to a certain extent, and things that represent our comfort and our sense of security. So during this time with Uranus, the planet of breakthroughs, the planet that represents chaotic shifts, radical shifts, think of the tower in tarot. That's what Uranus best represents. It's like that curveball we don't see coming that completely wrecks everything, but it wrecks down the walls that have kept us imprisoned. So it might seem bad at first, but it actually is for our highest good. So that's what Uranus really represents. breakthroughs, innovation, all that good stuff. So when Uranus was going through Taurus, we were seeing shifts in our connection to money, resources, our possessions, what we owned. Sense of ownership was definitely put into question during this time. So you may have noticed individually you were going through fluctuations with your finances or with your relationship to money. Maybe you're noticing losses or financial gains that were very beneficial for you. And this was to help you think long term. I was also seeing during this transit people's ideas about self-love and value were also being discussed. We were having a lot of discussions, a lot of conversations, a lot of podcasts coming up regarding what it means to love yourself, what it means to be high value. You notice recently there's been this term thrown around, being high value. Yeah, that was definitely part of Uranus and Taurus. And the thing is, Uranus is very much extremes, radical, right? So the term high value, for example, was definitely being pushed in the context of extreme views. So think of, your red pill podcast, think of, the feminists, like two opposite extremes. And this often led to a lot of debates. So that was definitely a manifestation of that. Now, Uranus in Taurus also deals with resources. So during this time, especially globally, there were a lot of pushback and a lot of changes regarding resources, sharing resources, exporting them, importing, and who owns what, how can we acquire, how can we make something more accessible. And there were a lot of pushback and a lot of breakthroughs with those themes. Now, the thing is, Taurus also rules the actual earth. Let me just say, we have seen an uptick in a lot of earthquakes, volcanic activity, mudslides, potholes, sinkholes. Like we were seeing that being highlighted as well, like the earth actually shifting and the earth going through environmental changes. Uranus and Taurus does bring those changes as well. So now that we got that out of the way, that was just a brief summary. Oh, also, this is a fun fact. What I observed, and I wanted to know if other astrologers have noticed this too. In medical astrology, Taurus rules over the throat. I noticed, especially last year when Uranus was going through the last degrees of Taurus, a lot of people all of a sudden was developing medical issues with their throat. This could be dealing with strep throat, tonsillitis, not being able to swallow, having issues talking, losing their voice. Like I've seen, especially in my own personal circles, people dealing with throat issues. And I thought that was quite interesting. So I kind of think there's definitely a connection there, but that was something I observed. Now let's get into Uranus and Gemini. So Gemini is the twins. It represents dualism. It represents two. But in astrology, Gemini officially rules over the third house. And that deals with childhood education, how we learn, the knowledge we obtain, how we obtain it, how we share information, how we network with others. Gemini represents our immediate environment and community. It represents our siblings. Gemini also represents our ideas, the way we communicate, short-term travel. It also, in medical astrology, rules over the nervous system and also the upper limbs, as we have two of each, 2 hands, 2 arms, 2 lungs. So that's what Gemini rules over. Now, what we're going to notice specifically with Uranus entering Gemini, and we actually have been seeing the buildup of this energy already, there's going to be radical changes, breakdowns, and breakthroughs regarding ideas and what people believe in when it comes to their ideologies and how they communicate and what they're going to stand by. I would say Jupiter, that was recently in Gemini, was giving us a brief overview of what's to come with Uranus. Okay, the best way to describe it, Jupiter was expanding but also highlighting the downfalls or the negative side of radical ideas, the way we communicate, network innovations with technology and all that stuff. But Uranus is going to bring in the breakthroughs, like the things that are actually going to push us forward, but it's going to first feel a little bit chaotic. So during this time, we're going to see people really change their views a lot, But the issue here is I do feel there's going to be this overwhelming pressure of picking a side, because again, think of Gemini, the twins, the light and the dark, the yin and the yang. There's going to be people trying to find their balance. And at first, there's going to be a trial and error period of this where people are going to be flipping sides. Oh, I believe in this. But then they easily get convinced of, hey, maybe look at this perspective, and they shift all the way to the other side. We're going to see a lot of flip-floppers during this time. This is to help people expand their perspective on life, on political matters, on things that deal with the global atmosphere. This is to help us become more open-minded. So I would say, and I think Jupiter was allowing this to happen to a certain extent, Uranus and Gemini is going to help people break through limiting beliefs and limiting ideas that have been imprisoning them in their daily lives. And you might be feeling this already. Maybe you grew up in an environment where it was very traditional. Maybe you grew up in an environment where it was always chaotic. And this could be any type of environment. Uranus is going to help you break through those ideas or that overthinking to help you actually live in your true authenticity. And I want to mention, this is completely coinciding with Pluto in Aquarius. And I would say, once Uranus enters Gemini, it will be making a pretty harsh trine, or a beautiful trine, to Pluto in Aquarius. This is all about us finally stepping into our own authentic path and journey and embracing it. So although people will be trying to find their balance, of course, trying to figure out what best suits them, and it might involve going to the extremes, ultimately, once Uranus transits out of Gemini, and I don't know when exactly this transit is going to end. It could be in 2 years. I'm going to just give that time frame. But by then, people will have an understanding, or more balanced understanding, of what best suits them on an ideological level, political level, social level. So we're going to see that. Now, to get into the specifics, the last time we had Uranus and Gemini, I'm not going to lie, guys, we did have some type of war. I'm going to be completely honest. We're going through similar transits of the wars we had in the past. So think of World War II, think of Revolutionary War, think of the Civil War. Like, we're going through similar transits. So I'm not here to fearmonger or try to scare anybody, but I'm just keeping it real. We are going through those transits. So of course, while people are flip-flopping and trying to gain an understanding of what they truly resonate with, we're going to have constant battles. We're going to have constant debates, people going against each other because, oh, this is what I believe in. And the best thing you can do is maintain a more balanced perspective on everything and not try to pick sides. I think the worst thing you can do during this time is picking a side. Let's be real. Look at things from a bigger perspective. And that's the thing about Gemini. And that's why its sister sign is Sagittarius. Sagittarius is all about look at things on a grander scale and not just based on one perspective, not just based on what you're being fed. And I think that's what Jupiter was doing in Gemini. We were fed a lot of information. It was information overload. So you possibly were feeling a lot of overstimulation. Girl, when Uranus enters Gemini, that's going to be on 1,000. I'm just going to put it that way. It's going to be on 1,000. But the purpose is for you to find your own footing. So I would say stay grounded. I definitely, I'm getting a migraine, like a headache at this moment. Like I'm having it. We're going to see a lot of headaches, or you're going to be dealing with situations or hearing information that gives you a headache. So I keep saying the brain being highlighted. Mind you guys, when I do these charts and cards, I do channel. So I'm just going to let that happen. Okay, so I'm seeing the brain. And I'm seeing the nerves, like okay, so neurology is being highlighted. And I did say Gemini rules over the nervous system. Okay, let's shift into medicine real quick. Now, I'm not a doctor. I'm just gonna put that I'm not a doctor yet, because I am studying for that. Anyways, there might be some breakthroughs or differences in treatments regarding neurological diseases. I'm also seeing something about neurodivergence being highlighted. Yeah, I keep seeing the nerves and the way the brain is functioning, how it's wired. We're going to see discoveries or breakthroughs with treatments. However, there's going to be a trial and error period where there's going to be debates. What's ethical? What will benefit those who are dealing with certain conditions? I keep seeing research. There's definitely a focus on research with that. Now, this is just what I'm channeling. I'm not sure if this is literal, but let's say there's been research on a specific disease or maybe multiple diseases, and they're trying to figure out what medicine or what plan of treatment will be the most effective. There's a breakthrough, but there's going to be a trial and error where there's going to be failures, there's going to be setbacks, but that's opportunities to find a solution. There's going to be opportunities to find a solution, and eventually that leads to a breakthrough. And I keep seeing neurology being highlighted. I'm wondering if neurology is going to be one of those fields or specialties where we're going to see more scientists, we're going to see more doctors going into that field, or more people having those conditions and seeing doctors. I'm kind of feeling that. I'm hearing prosthetics. Maybe innovations with prosthetics. Oh, that's interesting. Okay, so that's just a channel that's coming through. Now I am kind of moving towards the technology side of it because that's coming through. Now, Pluto and Aquarius, I did mention, I think I did a video about this. I did see that there's going to be breakthroughs with technology. Now, this is regarding AI. Oh, give me a second. Okay. So regarding AI, yes, we're going to see advancements in how AI is going to be utilized in our daily society, our daily lives. But like Gemini, there's always a flip side too. There's going to be an exposure on the downsides of AI. Okay, now I'm seeing the brain again. I'm wondering if how AI has been used or how it's going to be used is impacting our cognitive abilities. There's a connection between technology, AI, and cognitive. I'm hearing cognitive impairments. What? Okay, let me just sit with this real quick. I just saw 14:14 on the clock. That's 5:55. Yeah, it changes. Okay. We need to be careful how we're using AI because it's almost like being too dependent on it, being too dependent on AI, being too dependent on technology, where it's impacting our ability to learn. Like I keep seeing like the synapses, like the nerves, the neurons, like things are not clicking. And it's because we're not utilizing our own cognitive abilities to learn and research and create the connections ourselves. It's like we're not connecting the dots. And we're just relying heavily on technology to do so. Yeah, okay, so that's going to be a big discussion or debate. How we are actually moving backwards now that technology is advancing is like on a physical and cognitive and even spiritual level, we're moving backwards. So that could be an issue coming up. And there's a connection to learning. Okay, yeah, there's a connection to learning as well. All right, so that's one thing that's coming through. All right, now what else am I getting with? Oh, okay, now I want to shift into the natural aspects. When I think of Uranus, I do think of lightning, because again, similar to the nerves, I don't know why, this is just how my brain is working. So you know how the nerves, they kind of resemble lightning, or like the way they communicate with each other. Like, think of lightning, it's quick, it's fast, it's abrupt. I'm seeing thunderstorms. Like, storm systems are going to be, I don't know, something's different about weather. Yeah, something's different about the weather once Uranus enters Gemini. And I can say, guys, in my area that I'm in, I'm noticing the thunder doesn't even sound normal. Like it sounds unnatural. So there could be differences or changes with weather patterns with Uranus entering Gemini. Yeah, something about weather. I'm wondering if technology or what we're putting up into the skies, into the atmosphere, is causing a change in weather patterns. So that's another topic that will be coming up as well. All right. Now, let me just briefly get into some of these transits I touched on earlier. So we are having a lot of retrogrades happening this year, or during July. First, Mercury retrograde. I mean, that rules over Gemini, of course. Saturn retrograde. I would say July is an introspection type of month, or it's going to be the start of us introspecting or revisiting certain things that need to be fixed or needs to be resolved in some way. And because we got Saturn and Neptune and Saturn going retrograde in the sign of Aries, there's going to be a lot of introspection regarding our own beliefs and how that ties into our character and self-identity, because Aries rules self-identity. And Neptune is the planet of confusion, spirituality, illusion to a certain extent, and being too idealistic. Saturn gives us that wake-up call. So I do feel in July, because of these transits, we're going to have a lot of rude awakenings and wake-up calls globally, but also in our personal lives. So if you're noticing there's a change in plans, if you're noticing things are just shifting and you feel out of control, allow those things to reveal to you the path, because it's almost like you're supposed to take your hand off the wheel. Not literally, of course, but take your hand off the wheel metaphorically and see what's trying to be revealed to you, because this is your opportunity to make adequate changes. This could be on any aspect of your life. I'm clearly seeing, yes, it could be dealing with your career, but it's also dealing with your own spiritual growth. Yeah, people's spiritual beliefs are going to be changing. And I did see that with Neptune and Aries. I was seeing that. Now, Chiron, I want to mention Chiron because that's being highlighted. Chiron retrograde, and this is again happening in Aries. If you have Aries in your chart, I mean, everybody technically does, but wherever Aries rules, like the house, the aspects, there's going to be certain triggers highlighted for you to heal. Don't be scared of those triggers, but use that trigger as a breakthrough for yourself to learn. Okay. All right, so I want to shift into the cards, and I'm going to still have the transits up because I might be channeling more stuff. But anyways, let's get into it. Let's pull some oracle cards. All right, so what does the collective need to know regarding July and the transits that are coming up? What does the collective need to know? What are some themes? We have 35, a loyal heart. You know what's interesting is 2 owls with crowns, the number 2. So again, it's tying back to Gemini. Even in tarot, Gemini rules over the lovers. So this is kind of giving that vibe to me. Loyal heart. Soulmates. Oh, okay. So on a personal level, you're going to be noticing the people you interact with. Your soul tribe might be changing a little bit. Loyal heart and soulmates. During this time, people are going to be realizing what best aligns with them on a spiritual level. So for you, collective, those who are watching, you may be attracting more loyal people into your life, or that's what you've been calling in. But there's a strong desire and wanting to partner up. Not just partnering, but being around communities that best suit you spiritually and that feel most aligned with you. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of like long-term connections being highlighted. So if you are noticing changes with your partnerships, like you feel as though you and your person are not working, for some of you guys, maybe you come to that realization that there needs to be a break, or you're noticing with your friend groups, maybe even your family dynamics, you're realizing they're not aligned with your spiritual path and your growth. So like Uranus breaks down things pretty quickly, abruptly, but it leads to a breakthrough. So you might be seeing breakups, or you might be noticing this in your immediate group: breakups, separations, major shocking information coming through that completely change your view and perspective on somebody or a relationship. And this allows you to move forward and come to contact with those that feel right to you. If you've been wanting a soulmate or you've been wanting a romantic connection, that breakthrough is coming. It's like you're being given the keys, but first it's like you're trying to understand or comprehend your lessons. And I think that's where the Chiron retrograde is coming through. Is like the traumas, the wounds, the harsh karmic lessons you went through with love, loyalty, respect, friendship, and all that. You're gaining wisdom from it. So a lot of you guys are actually elevating spiritually. You're going through major evolutions, and that's leading you to the right people. Now, if you're like, well, Jazz, my connections are fine right now. Like, I love my friends, I love my partner. There's going to be an upgrade with that. Now, it might come through as a shocking revelation or an event that completely changed your perspective, but you and your partner could be elevating in some way where your dynamic changes, but it's for the better. You know, it really depends on your timeline and what your story is. I keep seeing the keys. So there's keys here. Yeah, there's 2 keys. And then we have keys here with a lock that perfectly fits. So, like I said, no matter what your storyline is, bottom line, this transit is going to be bringing in connections that actually fit you on all levels. Like the most important thing is the compatibility. All right. Yeah. And I was seeing this with even Jupiter and Cancer. Like I mentioned, I kept seeing more soul aligned connections. For some of you guys, owls and penguins are an animal, like a spirit guide, spirit animal for you. Seventh chakra, which is the crown chakra, and we have the archangel Uriel. So some of you guys might connect to this archangel, but the crown is all about your spiritual growth, your spiritual ideas, what aligns with you spiritually. And I keep seeing the crown. Remember how I keep seeing like the head, the brain. Something about the brain, the nerves are being highlighted here. It's crazy. Crown. So a lot of you guys are going to be getting downloads that might shock you, but it's like, okay, this is what's next for me. So this is saying to pay attention to the signals your body is sending you, because believe it or not, our bodies actually tell us how someone is going to treat us, or if someone is in alignment with us firsthand before we even consciously figure everything out. So for example, with your nervous system, when you meet someone for the first time, or if you notice this throughout your dynamic, how do you feel? Do you feel at ease, or do you feel anxious? Do you always get butterflies in your stomach for some reason? Or do you feel like you're in constant fight or flight mode with this individual, or you feel pressure around your crown? Look at these physical symptoms, because they could be actually telling you or warning you to avoid that person at all costs. Now, if you feel the opposite, you feel calm and at ease, this person is likely to be part of your next soul journey. So some things to think about. Some of you guys might need to work on your crown chakra. So do crown chakra meditation. I'm seeing clear quartz. The name Lemuria is being highlighted. I'm not sure if I'm even saying that correctly. Some of you guys might connect with that energy. And then we have broken heart. It just fell on the floor with heartbreak. some of you guys are coming out of heartbreak, or you've been dealing with healing. Like, you've been trying to heal from losses, emotional losses. And this transit is helping you move past it, finally. And it's not through isolation. I felt like you've done that already. You've been isolating, you've been keeping to yourself. You've been working on your self-value, your worth, and that's what Uranus and Taurus was highlighting for you. But now it's time to network. It's time to blossom. And Uranus and Gemini, it's like making connections and networking with people you never thought to network with. Yes, like you create connections you don't even see coming. Like, you wouldn't have thought this would be possible, but it happens. Man holding a heart. You're finally connecting with your heart space, and you want to open up. Like, your heart, I'm seeing someone's heart in a cage, like locking up their heart, wanting to isolate. But now someone has the key to open that up, and that's vice versa. It's very interesting. Another card that is, or I guess a number, 4141. I'm not sure if you guys see this. Give me a second. Didn't I say how I saw 1414 earlier, and now we have 4141? So those numbers could be very important. Yeah, look up those angel numbers, 1414 and 4141. Someone could be 41 years old. Someone could have a child that's 14 years old. I'm getting that. Someone could be born on the 14th. And then we have the sacral. This with your expression. And then we got all tied up. So, like I said, this is a time of breakthroughs. Even creatively, I'm hearing creative blocks. And you know, Gemini rules over your ideas and thought process. So if you felt creatively blocked, or you felt blocked in any area of your life where you felt like you couldn't come up with ideas, you couldn't think of a plan, you couldn't connect with your own source, there's a breakthrough with that as well. I keep seeing a release. If you've been carrying a burden, or there's been a responsibility on you, that's being released. That's interesting. Magician in the mirror, it's like you're finally manifesting. And you see how there's this dualistic energy here. He is holding, ice? Like, he's manipulating ice, and he's also manipulating fire. Was it pyrokinesis and cryptokinesis? I think that's the name of those superpowers. So it's like being able to balance out two different sides. You know what this feels like? Y'all have went through the extremes of life, and now you're entering a time full of balance, or that's what this transit in July is helping you do. You are revisiting things from the past. You are seeing the extremes you went through, and even boils down to your ideas. It boils down to your thought process, your beliefs. Maybe you were stuck in a very extreme belief where it had to be just one way, but you're realizing life is more than just one perspective. There's many perspectives. There's many outcomes. There's many ways to express yourself. It doesn't just have to be one thing. You don't have to pick a side. Yeah, you don't have to pick a side. You do what feels best for you, and that sets you free. That brings you stability. Man holding a coin, that's dealing with your career as well. Some of you guys think you're supposed to have I'm hearing one track mind. You're supposed to have one path or one career field for you. But no, you can have multiple streams of income. You can do more than one thing. Some of y'all have been wanting to branch out. Maybe you have one job at this moment that's your priority, but you've been wanting to do something else that's a hobby that can bring you in more money. Definitely start looking into that. You don't have to be bounded by one thing. That's what I'm trying to say. You don't have to bind yourself creatively just for one thing. That's why you may have been feeling stagnant, because it's like, is this what life is all about? No, there's more to life. I'm seeing 555. It's time for that change. Angel of balance, exactly. You just need to figure out how to balance everything out. And like I said, there's going to be a trial and error period. You're going to feel like, oh, shoot, this is overwhelming. There's so much information. I don't know, like so many rules, so many things I had to go. Yeah, someone is trying to even start their business. That's what I'm hearing. There's so much you have to learn, but this is a perfect time to learn. Funny enough. Someone's also you might be wanting to learn a new language. That's for some of y'all. Attachment, but you're still attached. You still feel bounded. But now it's like it's time to take off the mask and really open up that door. Look at this. Door to value, door to financial freedom, independence. Okay. Take action. You see the two horses, black and white. That's dualism. Take action. You don't have to be bounded by one thing. That is crazy. Yin yang. That's Gemini right there. You see how there's so many cards dealing with balance? Two. I'm sorry if the camera's shaking. Got 222. All right. Okay, so I want to pull some tarot cards real quick. Give me a second. Follow your heart. Expand your perspective. Expand your pathway. 7 of Wands. What does the collective need to know regarding the transits in July? I'm not going to lie. You're going to reflect a lot. Like, you're going to have to prioritize planning, coming up with strategies. Be strategic. But that's okay. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. Page of Cups. Explore those options. Some of you guys feel blocked off, or you're in a corner, like you've been cornered. Yeah, I'm getting that. Someone feels cornered. Strength, and it's like you had to persevere. You just had to suck it up. Like, okay, this is what life is. Life isn't peaches and cream. This is reality. You know, very much in that logical yet pessimistic mindset. But you've been strong for too long. You don't have to endure. That's what Uranus is doing, is breaking you out. Even the retrogrades, a lot of things that have kept you trapped, you are reevaluating them. Saturn going retrograde. What has been restricting you? Neptune going retrograde. What belief systems have been limiting you? Chiron retrograde. What wounds do you need to still heal? And then Uranus is going to come in, completely breaking all those barriers down. That's what this feels like. And then there's opportunities. Page of Pentacles. I saw 33. Someone could be a master number. 33, life path. We got the Lion here too. Leo. 2 of Pentacles. You see, he's balancing out two different things. You just got to find balance in it. Queen of Swords. You can do it. That's the thing. This message, if you're hearing this message right now, you can do it. You have the power to do so. Exactly. Look at that. Ace of Wands. Find that spark again. That passion, that fire that's been almost close to being burnt out. And we got Emperor. This is Aries energy. You are the emperor of your life. The king of your life. The queen of your life, you know? You have that influence. Lead. This is all about leading your own life. That's what I was saying with Saturn entering Aries. And even Neptune entering Aries. It's all about finding your own sense of independence and identity. Once you figure that out, and I feel like a lot of y'all have been on that journey, you can make those decisions, even heart-based decisions. And you end up releasing the burdens. 10 of Wands. I want you guys to look at this. I literally say you might be releasing a burden because of this. He's carrying all these wands. And this is like finishing up at the finish line. But it's reversed. So you're dropping all of it. You're dropping all of those limiting beliefs, the trauma. 5 of Swords. There's the mental battle I'm seeing. And then 4 of Swords? healing, resting, meditating, and choosing yourself. Taking that leap of faith and walking away from anything that no longer serves you. That's what this is all about. Ace of Cups. But on the path, it could include the breakdown of connections. It could include you disconnecting, falling out of love with something or someone. But that's okay. That's part of your growth. That's your journey. That leads to movement forward. Detaching emotionally from it, detaching mentally from it, spiritually detaching from this, whatever's toxic, keeping you bounded. Oh, they are naked. My bad, guys. My bad. But yeah, don't worry. I'm gonna put like hopefully YouTube doesn't censor my video. But yes, this is everything that's toxic, everything that's unhealthy, that restrains you, that chains you. I literally pulled those cards earlier. And you know what happens when you take your life back? Justice. You balance everything out. Truth. Finding the truth that best aligns with you. We got Libra and Aquarius. The message is pretty clear. Okay. Advice for the collective. It's all a part of your soul contract. Negative and painful experiences are needed to fuel the growth of our soul. So this isn't a time to regret things or to be in this mindset of, oh, I wish I never went through that. I mean, I get it. Like, there's certain experiences we would not wish on our worst enemy. But those things have shaped us. And because we are coming out stronger, we evolved from it. What else? Get outside and ground. And I think this is a huge thing, especially with all the information, all the news we've been consuming and what's to come. Like, there's going to be more, just be more of it. Very shocking. Any anxiety and stress will be reduced in nature. You're being called by Mother Earth. So I would say, even back to what I was talking about with the nerves, I do also see many people having anxiety or noticing their nervous system is on fight or flight mode because of what's happening globally or what's happening in their personal lives. If that is you, and you also unfortunately deal with anxiety just like me, get outside and ground. Touch some grass. That's what I always tell people. Go touch some grass. Be present. Do breath work. And if you don't like any of that, if that sounds boring to you, do something that you love that relieves the stress, because that's going to help you. That's definitely going to help you. And final advice. Spirit is cleaning house. As you begin vibrating at a higher frequency, you'll attract people on the same journey as you. And I saw that with your oracle cards. Like I said, there's going to be a breakdown before a breakthrough. So if you know there's certain people that you have to disconnect from, connections, situations you have to disconnect from and walk away, yes, that is Spirit, God, or the universe, whatever you believe in, cleaning out your life, clearing out the blockages, clearing out the wall that has been standing in front of you so you can finally move forward. Be patient. Allow this to happen. Practice the disciplines of patience and persistence. Manifestation takes time, effort, and practice. So with that being said, guys, I hope this resonated and I hope y'all gained something from this video. 40:40. I just saw that on the clock. So I'll see you guys later, and let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Please be respectful. Please be respectful, and let me know what you guys are looking forward to. Anyways, I'll see y'all later. Bye.